Ladies and gentlemen, how's everybody doing on this fine Monday evening? As they say, daylight savings time has definitely hit us, and I am like so excited as far as for this new series in which I'm going to be embarking here for the month of November. So for everyone here that's in attendance, let's go ahead and get the pleasantries out of the way. If you're catching us on the live, by all means, do me a huge favor. Let me know as far as in the comments. Put in hashtag live. Let me know exactly where you're tuning in from. And of course, if you should be catching this on a replay, of course, do the same thing. Put in hashtag replay. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And also, if you get any value from this series. So I titled this on Transformation Greatness along with the Small Business Network podcast. This is episode 146, guys. Wow, 146. Who would ever thunk it when we started this podcast movement back in December that would reach to about 146. I want to say shout out as far as to everyone that has contributed as far as to really making this possible. Not only as far as my podcast, but for the other co-hosts as well that we have, and just really just bringing value and just bringing individuals that have been pouring wisdom. We most certainly appreciate it. And just to let you know that your efforts were not in vain, and we just appreciate you so much. I titled this series Mentors and Change Agent Series. And if you know me for quite some time, which, by the way, I've been in this industry now for about 11 years. I'm the founder and creator of a brand which is called Transformation Greatness, which is all about motivating, encouraging, and inspiring the masses. And with that, it is triple fold. So not only am I a speaker, not only am I a coach and a hypnotherapist practitioner, but in addition, I'm a partner and CEO with the Small Business Network, which makes me a radio and TV personality. As I was alluding to, every now and then during the course of my live streaming podcast career, I will highlight certain individuals. These were men and women that are mentors and still to this day. Individuals that truly have been life changers, those that have truly made a difference, not only in my personal and professional career, but also too in terms of my personal development, in terms of my growth as well. So during this month, guys, what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be highlighting and be featuring certain individuals. And that way you get an opportunity to get to know, like, and really relate and find out more about these individuals, because I think that's very important. You know how a lot of times we like to highlight heroes or idols, people in which that emulated, right? Very much so. And with that, I just want to go ahead and do a dedication to these individuals. And these are people that you're going to be hearing me talk about periodically as the month rolls on. So with no further ado, I want to go ahead and start off with my very first mentor in life, right? And I will have to say that it was my mother, right? Louise Catherine White. Many of you have been following me. You have heard of my story. You have heard of me talk about my mom. You have talked about as far as, with our relationship, how the way it was, etc., etc. But since that we're doing a mentor and life-changing series, I want to highlight the positives from Louise Kathleen White, my mom. She was an individual that was very much from the old school, very hardworking, dedicated. She really showed me first the true essence of what work ethic looked like, even early on those days, for myself and also for my two sisters as well. And I remember distinctly, it was many times, guys, that I would go as far as to her place of business, right? Because she used to work for the state. I believe it was called the Workers' Board, Compensation Board, if I'm not mistaken. And I just remember just the level of reverence and respect that she got each and every single time. Her job description was that she was a keyboard specialist. And back in those days, that was considered as a real trade. And let me tell you something. My mom had skills to pay the bills, okay? She would type at 85 words a minute. Now, I understand now in this day and age, 85 words a minute may not be much, but back in those days, in the 80s, guys, 85 words a minute was almost equivalent to like 150 to 200 words a minute. She was extremely gifted in that. So I used to see when I was there, and I used to just imagine, right, with all the typewriters, and I would just see people going back and forth, right, with their papers, and they're talking with their other coworkers in her cubicles. And I just remember a lot of times people from other departments would actually go to my mom and be like, Miss White, can you help me out with this? Louise, I got a project going on. I don't know what's going on. Can you tell me the numbers on this? Or even at times, I even seen her really being a life coach and giving guidance, right? While on the clock to other coworkers. And to me, that used to always fascinate me. And again, just the work ethic, just a solid commitment, just the tenacity, being fearless in her approach. And then we'll have to come home and transition from being a 9-to-5 employee to being a single mom. And did that religiously, day in and day out. I mean, at times where she used to be tired. I mean, she would have long days, but guess what? She always made sure that food was on the table, always made sure that rent was paid, always made sure that we had the essentials, right? We didn't get everything that we wanted, but we had the essentials. But one of the things in which that she instilled in us was, again, work ethic, independence, knowing of who you are as an individual, as being a young black man and, you know, a black woman for my sisters in this world, and what to expect in this world. And you know what's funny? When you're young, you really don't see it for what it really is. I mean, how can you? You know, you're just a kid, right? But even to this day, the qualities and the seed that she implanted in us, it transitioned over as we became of age, as we started getting into the working environment, right? As we started to develop our communication skills. That was something else in which that she always taught. Develop your communication skills. I remember she used to get on me constantly because every time I would ask her a question, you know what she would tell me, guys? Find a dictionary. And you know, that used to upset me. And I'm like, but Mom, but you know the question. Can you just answer the question? She would say, get a dictionary. And I didn't realize at that time, but she was teaching us to be resourceful, ladies and gentlemen, which is a quality, especially if you're an entrepreneur or you're someone looking to make things happen. It's very interesting, on how her methods, in which I thought that she was being very strict, in which, by the way, she was, but yet she instilled those qualities and learning how to be resourceful and learning how to be relentless and don't give up. And when you get stuck, you use this, and you use the power of a book to learn, to ask questions, right? Don't be afraid to ask for help, to have humility, always have your head up high, to know of who you are as an individual. My first mentor was someone that I learned a lot. Even though we didn't have the greatest of relationship, we really didn't. But there were some keys in which that I took from my first mentor. And I just elaborated on that. Louise Kathleen White, if you're listening, I know you are, because she has left us many, many, many moons ago. But you're still in my spirit, and you're being represented by myself, by the family, and for all those that can relate to these qualities. For all the Louise Kathleen Whites in the world, you are a mentor as well. You have the qualities, you have the life experiences, you have the knowledge and know-how to be able to pour into someone else and really be able to educate and guide. It was a lot of times now that through her teachings, they were hard, they were tough. But sometimes as being a mentor, the best mentors are the ones that at times give it to you straight. I'm not saying they have to be cruel. I'm not saying they have to be nasty or anything like that. But a great mentor is someone that is not afraid to get into your face and let you know on where you're messing up at. Tough love, they call it from back in the days. Tough love. But you know something? For all those that was born in my generation in the 70s, it had made us so mentally tough to have that resolve, to have that resilience, to have that get up and fight no matter what. And just like with Louise Kathleen White, my first mentor, by the way, even though she had her shortcomings, even though she had her adversities, even though Murphy's Law came visiting her doorstep many, many times, but yet she had the grace and she had a resolve to just keep going. And she wouldn't quit. Even on her deathbed, she would not quit. She wouldn't quit at all. She was still pouring into us. She was still giving out knowledge. She was still doing the best she can, even though she can barely even talk, because it's that fight. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a sign of a great mentor. I want you all to stay tuned, because this concludes day one of the Mentor and Change Agent series. There's going to be many more individuals to come. Many, many more. Some in which that you will be like, oh, I know this individual. Okay, cool. But then there's going to be some that you're going to be like, I have no idea who this individual is, but I want to get to know them. Through the art of storytelling, it's something that's truly amazing. I'm going to leave you all with a question, then I'm going to close because I'm hungry. I got to eat. I'm hungry. If there's one person, or maybe more than one person that you can think of as of right now, that really provided a positive impact in your life, and you can think about of all the tools, you can think about all the teachings, the knowledge that was instilled into you, if you can think of that individual, who can it be? Better yet, let's even go another step further. How about you reach out to them and let them know on how much you truly, truly appreciate them. And you thank them so much for taking that time to pouring their wisdom into you. I hope that somebody got something out of this. I'm going to have a blast doing this, guys. This is like truly, truly amazing. And I just can't wait as far as to bring up the next person that I'm going to be talking about. And the cool thing is, none of you guys don't know on who that's going to be next. So you're going to have to stay tuned for more. Until then, if what I stated on here either motivated, transformed, or inspired at least one person, then may God be the glory, and I take no credit for absolutely none of it. Until then, this concludes Transformation Greatness along with the Small Business Network podcast, episode 146. Until then, family, be blessed and look forward for the next episode. Peace and love, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. Good night.